Gus Kapler. I served as a trauma surgeon at the 85th Evacuation Hospital, Phu Bai, Vietnam, for 1 year. I operated upon our young wounded from September 1970 to September 1971. Little did any of us know that a universal threat loomed over us. It was the carcinogenic and mutagenic chemical dioxin in Agent Orange. The travesty of spraying herbicides in Vietnam is only one of the many catastrophes in the quagmire of our involvement in that war. I suggest reading Dereliction of Duty by H.R. McMaster and Vietnam, an Epic Tragedy by Max Hastings. The term Agent Orange encompasses a group of herbicides responsible for 300,000 Vietnam veteran deaths. There were 6 mixtures of extremely toxic herbicides sprayed in Vietnam from 1961 to 1971 to eliminate cover for the enemy, destroy crops, and drive the populace into the cities. Agents green, pink, purple, and orange contained 2,4,5-T, which was known to be contaminated during its manufacture with a carcinogenic and mutagenic compound dioxin. Agent blue contained arsenic. Agent white contained perchlorate. The grand total sprayed is over 20 million gallons. Military service in Vietnam and honest waters is definitive for exposure. Vietnam veterans consider themselves sprayed and betrayed with a gift that keeps on giving, for the risk of developing these diseases is lifelong. Here is a laundry list of Agent Orange-derived diseases recognized by the VA. Was General Colin Powell's death hastened by the multiple myeloma and Parkinson's disease in all likelihood induced by exposure to Agent Orange during his 1962 and 1968 Vietnam tours of duty? They are both on the list. What a shame. It wasn't just Agent Orange. There was a rainbow of herbicides sprayed in Vietnam. Green, pink, purple, blue, white, and orange. Note at the top of the 55-gallon drums. The 4 mixtures, green, pink, blue, and orange, contained 2,4,5-T, contaminated by the poisonous dioxin during its manufacture. Agent blue contained arsenic. Agent white contained perchlorate. Critical information on the rainbow herbicides will follow. Recorded herbicide volumes sprayed in Vietnam are incomplete. But if one adds the amounts for each herbicide mixture sprayed, noted in the orange banner at the bottom of the slide, the total amount sprayed was 19,595,205 gallons. The usual amount quoted is 20 million gallons. Agent Orange, the herbicide. Its deployment was initiated on November 30th, 1961 by Kennedy. It was a 50-50 mixture of organochlorides, 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T. 2,4-D is still available at Home Depot and Lowe's. 2,4,5-T is predictably contaminated with TCDD, dioxin, during its manufacture and its in burn pit fumes. It is extraordinarily carcinogenic and extraordinarily mutagenic. Read The Burn Pits by Joseph Hickman about the 21st century equivalent to our Agent Orange crisis. More on Agent Orange, the herbicide. The manufacturers of Agent Orange, Dow Chemical, and Monsanto, Nobel laureates, the U.S. military and Washington's leaders, and Presidents Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon were well aware of the dioxin contamination and its consequences. 5 parts per trillion is essentially the dilution of 1 drop of Agent Orange and its contaminant dioxin in 4 million gallons of water. Exposure to this concentration caused cancer in lab rats. The Vietnam landscape was sprayed with 2 parts per million. which is 1,000 times more concentrated than the 5 parts per trillion of Agent Orange dioxin that caused cancer in lab rats. The United Nations attempted to sanction the United States for violation of Geneva Convention protocols limiting biologic and chemical weapons. Agent Blue was cocodilic acid, which is arsenic-based. It has no half-life. Therefore, it lasts forever and poisons forever. It was used for it was best at killing rice and grasses. However, it promotes bladder, kidney, liver, and thyroid cancers. Agent White was a combination of 2,4-D and placorum. In the National Cancer Institute rat study, high and low doses of placorum were highly carcinogenic. However, OSHA and the EPA consider placorum to be non-carcinogenic. Go figure. Presumed lies and deceit by Dow Chemical. Paul Orifice, at one time the chairman of Dow Chemicals USA, was involved in building pseudo-scientific societies and think tanks to disclaim the health risks of Agent Orange. Presidential egos and scientists covering their asses. A presidential legacy of not losing the Vietnam War was trumped by young American lives. Can you believe this? Documented by Admiral Zumwalt in 1990 in a report to the Veterans Administration. We, the military scientists, when we initiated the herbicide program in the 1960s, were aware of the potential for damage due to dioxin, the contamination in the herbicide. We were even aware that the military 6 formulation had a higher dioxin concentration than the civilian version due to the lower cost and speed of manufacture. However, because the material was being used on the enemy, none of us were overly concerned. We never considered a scenario in which our own personnel would become contaminated with the herbicide. And if we had, we would have expected our own government to give assistance to the veterans so contaminated. What a pipe dream. What a sad commentary. The rainbow herbicides contaminated our troops by direct contact, manipulating the poisonous 55-gallon drum, spraying with handheld hoses on land and from watercraft, equipping and flying the spraying aircraft, inhaling the dust and drinking the water. Attached are incriminating replies to my Vietnam Memoirs Facebook page. They relate to the 85th Evacuation Hospital during the time I was there. Larry White to Richard Miller. I was beside that hospital, the 85th Evac, in 1970-71. I helped load Agent Orange on spray-adapted aircraft right there. Some barrels had rusted, leaking bottoms. I had it running down my arms and all over my hands. No one told us to wear gloves. Bernard Downey to Larry White. What genius thought it was a good idea to store Agent Orange next to a hospital? Carcinogenic and mutagenic herbicides were in the dust we inhaled and the water we drank. As noted on the map, the 85th Evacuation Hospital was located between Hue and Da Nang, near the South China Sea, in a region called Phu Bai. The Phu Bai area was sprayed with 54,300 gallons of Agent Orange, in addition to Agents White and Blue from fixed-wing aircraft. Not documented is the amount sprayed from Army helicopters and ground sources, that is, boats, handheld spraying, and APCs. Please note the green arrow. ICOR refers to the most northern portion of South Vietnam. The ICOR bases underlined in green were adjacent to Phu Bai. Adding the recorded amounts, a total of about 165,000 gallons of rainbow herbicides were sprayed on the Phu Bai area before and after the hospital and bases were established. The soldiers from those adjacent areas arrived at the 85th Evacuation Hospital contaminated with dioxin dust. We served our country honorably. Why are we being punished? Please ponder the current morbidity and mortality of those of us who served at the 85th Evacuation Hospital. We existed within a rainbow of herbicides, which contaminated the soil in Phu Bai, Vietnam. Now ponder the disastrous effect of dioxin for the over 2.5 million who served in country during the Vietnam War. At least 300,000 have died from the herbicide rainbow. My brothers who died from Agent Orange exposure. Leo Flynn, MD, orthopedic surgeon, ischemic heart disease. Mel Aben, MD, trauma surgeon, lymphoma. Dave Schlager, MD, internist, prostatic cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's disease. Joe Patton, MD, trauma surgeon, Parkinson's disease. Fred Brockschmidt, RN, anesthetist, basal cell cancer of the spine. Dave Tree Anderson, OR Tech medic, colon cancer, still being denied by the VA. The remaining 9 85th Evacuation Hospital personnel cursed by Agent Orange suffer significant challenges. I feel other 85th Evacuation Hospital personnel will be added to the list. I was gifted with multiple basal cell cancers, a melanoma of the face, colon cancer, and the most recent chronic lymphocytic leukemia. I'm 82, but would like to live a bit longer. Hopefully, you now better understand the travesty of Agent Orange.